super excited to be here, like speaking with all of you and sharing my experience. And I also have to, tell you guys this that I have sort of done a lot of research and created this pathway because there, as you all know, that there are a lot of material, data, everything available, right, to become a DevOps engineer. So I have sort of nitpicked from that, and yeah, I've created a small pathway so that it will help you to convert into a DevOps engineer as soon as possible. So let me get started on that. Yeah. Okay, so first of all, like in today's session, we will be discussing about the pathway, as I already said. I'll be also talking about the key technologies and skill set for a DevOps job. And we will be focusing on how non-tech professionals can transfer into DevOps field. Like I myself, I am from electronics and telecom, and after that I've done my engineering in electronics and telecom, and after that I joined Amazon at another position which was a non-tech position. Then I took a transfer to being a DevOps engineer, so I can totally relate with you all, and I will be able to answer your queries and help you out. So based on that, other than that, I have some hacks that I wanted to discuss, like how to get your profile highlighted and everything, so I will be covering that um, in tips and tricks to crack interviews for DevOps role. And also at the end of it, I would be sharing my experience, that what are my day-to-day responsibilities as a DevOps engineer at Amazon. And if that sort of intrigues you, I am sure that you will be a great DevOps engineer too. So yeah, let's get started on that note. So basically, first of all, like keep starting this session from the very basics. What is DevOps? Like in layman terms, if I try to explain it, the definition of DevOps is that people write code on the local host, and it's the DevOps engineer's responsibility to move that code into production so that it is always available to the client. That is the basic gist of it. So this is what a DevOps engineer does in their day-to-day life. Basically, they have to maintain the code in production and stuff like that, and they have to make sure that continuous integration is taking place. So now you may think that what do you say? The next question is that how important is coding if you want to become a DevOps engineer? Does it require a lot of programming knowledge? So the good thing is that a lot of people know there isn't a compulsion to understand too much of code. You should be able to read the code and get an overview, like what this code is doing basically. But you don't need to write the business logic. That is the job of a developer and not DevOps. So surely, if you were definitely like if you're good at programming, and you will definitely thrive in the world of DevOps. But it's not compulsory. Hence, you don't have to focus a lot on coding. You definitely cannot ignore it, but move your focus a lot more on the tools that DevOps use to maintain the code in production. So that will help more. And these kind of skill sets are required to become a DevOps engineer. So yeah, and I would also say that under a DevOps model, basically development and operations team are mixed together. Yeah, like sometimes these two teams are merged into a single team where the engineers work across the entire application lifecycle from development and test to deployment to operations. So yeah, this is what we follow in the field of DevOps. Yeah, so moving on, let's understand the journey to become a skilled DevOps engineer. And we have a roadmap where I have listed down the important skills that one must have. Um, First is to learn Linux, basically, and then there is to practice Git. There are YAML, it's a programming language, and it's not like normal programming languages, it's a bit different. It's instruction based. So yeah, I'll tell you guys about that as well. And cloud is very important if you want to pursue a career in DevOps. You have to be, good, like on your toes with cloud. Like you can pick any like AWS, Azure, GCP, but yeah, you have to adapt well to cloud. And then there is Docker and Kubernetes. This is the core of DevOps. Like you have to like these are very important technologies, and there are a lot of DevOps tools. Like there are a lot of them, but you can definitely learn DevOps tools on the go. You don't have to know everything before entering the field. So that's a myth that you have to know everything. And then there is like infrastructure as a code. I would say that it's very important to spend time on that as well. There is Terraform, etc. And you would have yeah you should have the opportunity in future. Once you have enough knowledge, you should have the opportunity to create DevOps projects, and you can upload them on GitHub. So basically, this will, what do you say, give you a lot of confidence as well once you upload your projects on GitHub. So I would advise you to do that as well. And getting certifications for cloud is also very important. Like that raises the bar for you, right? Basically, there are a lot of people in this field, but how many have certifications for cloud? Very few. So I would suggest getting a certification in cloud would definitely, make you stand out and give you a lot of knowledge. So you should go for that as well. And moving on, we'll go through each point individually. So yeah, yes. First is learning Linux. So basically, Linux is very important, I think, for a DevOps point of view. Like Linux and DevOps share a common agenda, that is scalability. So as you know that if there is a match which is being streamed on Hotstar or anything like that, so we have to do the scaling, right? Like for that, like that is being handled by DevOps engineers. Like if there is an F1 match or if there is a cricket match and everyone is watching it, so how will the server handle this? So this is being looked after by DevOps engineers. So yeah, Linux and DevOps share a common agenda, that is scalability. Scalability enables fast software delivery without forcing developers to compromise the quality of their code base. Scalability promotes measurable and self-paced growth. And people who are not like used to Linux, it is a bit intimidating at first, right? Because it's very different than our usual OS. So, but I would suggest spend some time with it and you will get used to it eventually. Like, as I've also written here, that don't fear the penguin. It's basically symbolic for Linux. So definitely like get your hands dirty with Linux and give it some nice 2 months. I would suggest spend a lot of time, learn the basic commands like how grep works. And the more you know Linux, the better you will be performing as a DevOps engineer, definitely. So that is one tip from my side. And yeah, so you can give about 2 months to learn Linux properly, because once you learn Linux properly, you'll have a head start into the whole what do you say, pathway, the whole roadmap that we have decided, right? So moving on from here, second is, as we discussed, like practice Git. So once you are comfortable with Linux, move forward to learning Git. Yeah. And Git concepts are really important, like even for developers as well as for DevOps. Like basically, it's a distributed server, right? So if multiple developers want to work on something, so they can work together if using Git. Yeah. So as I've also written here, that Git is a DevOps tool used for source code management. It is a free and open source version control system used to handle small to very large projects efficiently. And Git is also used for tracking changes in the source code and enabling multiple developers to work together. So this really helps. Basically, this increases the pace of development because a lot of people can work together at the same time and push their codes. And together we have a whole functional code for a feature. So that is really helpful. So spend some time learning Git, I would suggest. And yeah, you will be like dealing with a lot of Git as a DevOps. So this will make your life easier. And Git workflow and commands I've mentioned here, you will be able to find some Git sheets online as well. So that will help you a lot. Other than that, next I was talking about the YAML, right? The YAML programming language. So I'm not sure if a lot of you are aware about YAML. But I think YML is comparatively easy. It's more like a instructional language. Like it includes instructions that eventually you will be using as a DevOps engineer, because your major work will revolve around creating infrastructure, right? So these instructions are given to the computer that, hey, like I need an infrastructure which has this much of RAM and this much of machines, and I want to connect it to this database. All of this you can write as an instruction, and YAML will help you with that. It's not a very difficult thing to pick up on. So you could do this over a weekend, in fact. Like it's really quite easy to understand. So once you understand how it's written and everything, it'll become very easy for you to move forward with it. And this will look really good on your resume as well. Like it will leave an impression on the recruiter or the interviewer if you know this. So um, yeah. So after that, I would say that, that life of a DevOps engineer revolves a lot around the code, right? Yes, like um, there are dedicated cloud engineers and the DevOps engineers, and people do consider them as separate roles. But chances are high that you need to have a good understanding of the cloud as well. So the next topic that we will be covering is adapting to the cloud. So now pick up like your favorite cloud. For me, it was AWS that I started with. But you can also pick Azure or GCP, like as per your preference. So AWS offers a lot more services and it's a lot more in demand. Like even with startups, like they prefer AWS. So yeah, like cloud requirement is growing rapidly these days, and we are all aware about that. So learning cloud is always definitely going to add to your profile. And since we are from a non-tech background, right? Like being on top of your game is very important for us. And in tech, it's very important to stay updated. So cloud is the new big thing, and the future is very bright if you know cloud. So definitely like pick one cloud and learn more, and not just like learn it theoretically, but like subscribe to AWS, make small projects and everything. The more comfortable you are with cloud environment, you are making your life more easier basically. So yeah, so and other than that, as I already mentioned, like doing AWS certifications will add to your profile, and it will give you an added advantage, and it gives a confidence to the person who is hiring that you know stuff. Like I would highly recommend getting it, and having in-depth knowledge of how cloud works is really essential. Like learn AWS in real environment while taking utmost care of the kind of instances you are spinning up, as it may release large bills if not done consciously, like not done carefully. Yeah, so like there is a free tier account obviously on AWS, but at the same time, like I have faced this issue that I got some bills. So that way, so be careful with this when you're spinning instances on AWS. And other than that, yeah, let's just say you have picked up AWS and now you are quite comfortable with spinning up machines and even horizontal scaling and vertical scaling. Like these are topics which are worth going through because these are like real life projects that you will be dealing with related to scaling. So you know about the amount of storage given to you. You are pretty much comfortable with AWS. Once you're done with this, and you can see that there is a comparison table also over here. You can see that for Docker management and Kubernetes management, which cloud is using what. So like in Amazon especially, we use ECS and EKS, and we use all these services, S3 and everything. We majorly, like my team works on the cloud. So yeah, it's a lot, it's good exposure to work on the cloud. And yeah, DevOps team gain a higher degree of communication, collaboration, and scalability. That is definitely true. And next, we should also discuss about Docker and Kubernetes, right? Um, yeah. So learning Docker and Kubernetes is very important because, like, I'll just explain it to you. Like, Docker is a tool that benefits both developers and administrators. This makes it a part of many DevOps tool chains. right? Developers can write code without worrying about the system that will be ultimately running the application. Kubernetes for that is like, while Docker is a container runtime, Kubernetes is a platform for running and managing containers for many container runtimes. So Kubernetes supports numerous container runtimes, including Docker. So it's that way. Like, let me just make it a little simple. Like, this is too technical, I think. So basically, like, so let me tell you. See, Docker is a way of how you containerize your application and put that on the server, right? And to make sure that servers and containers are always up and running, if some container goes bad and it turns down, so that will affect the business, right? So there needs to be something which is monitoring them and making sure that these containers are available all the time, making sure that the load on one machine is not too much. You can distribute your load with different containers on different machines. This is where Kubernetes comes into the picture. I know, matlab, right now, I think most of you might also be thinking that Kubernetes sounds daunting, but it makes you cloud independent, and that's why people in the DevOps domain love it so much. So, like, we all obviously we want to be cloud independent, right? Like, everyone is tending towards CI/CD. So that way. So basically, all the topics that I have covered as of now, I'll be taking questions at the end. No issues with that. But this covers the 60-70% that is required to become a DevOps engineer. Like, if you're good at these, like if you pick on these, definitely there's a scope that you will crack DevOps interviews and it won't be an issue. So 60-70% of the topics we have already covered. But as I told you, right, what do you say that there are more things that you can do because there are so many tools related to DevOps. So let's take one step further and let's start the journey of learning about tools and the Terraform that exist in the DevOps world. Right. So these are so if you will notice the picture down, right? It's best DevOps automation tools and technologies. It mentions so many tools. Now, obviously, you can't learn everything at the first go. Like, I myself, I'm learning on the go, like along with my work. Like, whenever something comes up, I pick on it and I learn and I explore it. But because there are like n number of tools, so I would suggest that pick the important tools which will give you an idea on how things work, right? So let me just give you an overview first. Like, DevOps testing tools are designed to help software development and delivery teams test their code more effectively. By automating certain tasks and providing an easy way to manage testing data, these tools can help streamline the process and make it more efficient. So, what I understand out of the whole definition is that as DevOps, what our work is that we have to fasten the whole delivery process. Like, we can't let the delivery cycle be too slow. So that is why we have introduced so many tools and we take help of so many tools to leverage the speed like that we can have while delivering to the product team. So it's that way. So some important tools are Ansible, GitHub Actions, Argo CD, and Circle CI. These four tools are very important. And whenever you have the free time, definitely go through them. I haven't covered it over here because I thought going too much in depth might be intimidating at first. So definitely you can cover these topics, and these are some good tools. And moving on, yeah, so this one is very important. Like, we follow this very to the core level in Amazon as well. I think every DevOps engineer follows this. So you have to spend some good quality of time understanding infrastructure as a code, IAC. So it uses DevOps methodology and versioning with a descriptive model to define and deploy infrastructure, such as networks, virtual machines, load balancers, and connection topologies. So let me just explain this a little in layman language that infrastructure as a code, basically, this is your code where you have written that how your infrastructure should be built and everything, so that the developers don't have to spend time in order to define it every time they develop something. So this helps a lot. Like this reduces the time of the development cycle, and that is what our major aim is. So you should, I would definitely suggest like spend a lot of time learning infrastructure as a code. And I've also listed down reasons like why do DevOps need infrastructure as a code tools. So it increases reliability, scaling, a good solution. It's better for testing, for version control. And because version control is basically like one deployment that you will be doing, right? After that, a new version will be created. So you need to have these tools in place to ensure that the release cycle is not getting affected. And also the security, documentation, and cost. The cost will also reduce. And the earlier you deploy using IAC, the better the rewards. So it's that way. So explore this infrastructure as a code, and we are using currently AWS Cloud Formation. So there's Terraform, which is very popular. You can explore that as well, and yeah, you will get a lot of insights through this. You can actually build pipelines and projects on this topic as well. Like it's a suggestion. Yeah, and after that, yeah, so, and these tools won't take too much of your time either because you have spent a good amount of time working up your foundation, like what we discussed, right? The 60-70%. And probably each one is going to take about a week or 15 days, like each tool. And I've listed down these four tools. If you cover these four tools, you will have a good knowledge. Like you can pick other tools easily. So, enough about the tools. I think I've spoken a lot on that. Now, other than that, what we can do is, yeah. So I would say that I was talking about the project, right, for infrastructure as a code. So like you could like take a dummy application, make it scalable onto the cloud, and how can you monitor it? So as a DevOps, you are also expected to be good at monitoring the system, so that you can identify what the issues are and you can fix it. Because what happens is the developers handle the development environment, the what do you say the quality assurance team, the quality assurance engineers are handling the beta environment, and as DevOps we are the ones who handle the prod environment, the production. And production is the main code, right? Like that's the major responsibility, that is where the whole focus is. So we have to keep monitoring if all the systems are up and running, if all the servers are healthy, and yeah. So if everything is running smoothly in a company, I would say the credit goes to a DevOps engineer as they ensure that the application is always up and running and well maintained. So I like even after like so many matches that get streamed on Hotstar, I have seen people actually complimenting the DevOps team of Hotstar that kudos to them, they have done a great job. So yes, all of these things matter a lot. And other than that, yes. So the most awaited question about non-tech folks to transfer into DevOps engineering. So yeah. So first of all, like from my experience, I would like to share that I was in a non-tech background. What I did is I did a deep dive. I did a deep dive into what the job description says about the job that I'm applying for. Like it was a DevOps engineering job. So what is the job description and what things do I need to cope on? Right. So I picked those things up. I reached out to people in this domain and I collected a lot of insights. And I had around 3 rounds to crack the interview. And I cleared those 3 rounds. Like I was made, one of the questions which was asked to me was to write a Lambda on AWS. So this is how important AWS is. I had to write a Lambda on AWS. I had to use DDB, like connected to a database that is DynamoDB that I used. And yeah, and had to automate this whole system in a way that every hour I would get an email related to the problem statement that was given to me. So it was a pretty fun project, but this happened during the interview. So luckily, I had covered the AWS part, so I could figure this out. So yeah, this is one thing that I would say, that be on top of your game And if you're on top of your game, and if you're a really skilled person, so moving from a non-tech background to a tech background won't be that difficult for you. It is definitely possible. And the major thing is, whatever, wherever you are inclined to, right, start building your network in that domain. Because once your LinkedIn network is strong enough, you will start realizing which startups are offering junior DevOps positions, or based on your experience, like whichever position that you are aiming for, which companies are doing that. You can speak to people who are working on those positions. What is their experience, and what are the skills which are required for the job exactly in that company. Because like I have a couple of friends in other companies as well. So for DevOps profile, it differs a lot. That it's not going to be consistent, that if I am working on certain things, that means the other DevOps engineer will also be working on that. It's basically like it's different for team to team. So it's very important, like whichever role that you are planning to crack, you should get in touch with that team, and you should understand what is their requirement and prepare accordingly. So this will be an efficient approach. And yeah, but like I would like, based on my experience, you can definitely convert from a non-tech background to a DevOps field. And I have some of my colleagues have also done this. In fact, it's not like it's a very rare thing either. So I support you guys, and you should definitely try for it. It's possible. And yes, just try to gain the right skills. Spend about a good quality of four months at least gaining the skills, making your projects and making your profile very strong. So I've also mentioned over here that few very important points to increase your chances of converting into a DevOps engineer are cloud certifications, once again, and then there are DevOps projects that you can pick, upload it on GitHub. There are projects basically like to build pipelines. You can build CI/CD pipelines. It's basically like every team wants to obtain CI/CD at the end. It is continuous integration and continuous deployment, and that is what this sign stands for. This infinity sign, this it stands for CI/CD. So yeah, so that is one thing. And build a good network on LinkedIn, get in touch with people. And once you start getting into the network, you will realize that a lot of HRs will also start reaching you. If you will be a part of the network, try to get referrals when you are applying for certain companies. That will increase your chance of getting an interview. Otherwise, for most of the companies, we apply through the portal and our application is not picked up. So getting referrals is always a good idea. Then other than that, you should have a really well drafted resume. If you're a fresher, your resume should be only a one page resume. Don't make it a lengthy resume. If you have certain experience, right, then you can still extend to 2 pages. But anyways, if you're new to this field, if you're converting to this field now, you should try to keep more relevant information on your resume. So yeah, that will help a lot. And that is how your resume has a higher chance of getting picked up. And yes, other than that, yeah, some of the hacks, okay, these are a bit hacky hacks, but you can still try these out. First, I would say that get a mentor. Like, once you start connecting with people on LinkedIn, you should get a mentor. Like, even in Amazon, we have this culture of getting mentors. Like, no matter what position that you are at, even my senior folks have their mentors who are senior to them. So the mentoring culture is very, very important. It basically, like, puts you on the right path to success. And I would suggest like getting a mentor in this field. Set up bi-weekly one-on-ones with them, discuss your progress with them. So this will definitely like streamline your growth. You won't be wasting your time in things which are unnecessary, right? So you will get a very good feedback as well from your mentor on things that you're doing, projects that you are building. So that will definitely be nice. Get a mentor first of all. And like, you guys can ping me, I'll share my LinkedIn as well. after this session. So I could help you connect with a couple of folks in my network for jobs in the DevOps domain, or getting mentors in the DevOps domain, however it works. And there's one more. There are two, three more hacks that I know that I used to like. I have also practiced these hacks during my college. So, in order to be highlighted to recruiters on Naukri.com and LinkedIn, these places, keep making minor changes to your profile. So, this will set your profile on top as per the algorithm followed by these sites. मतलब ऐसा कुछ some small changes, even if you will make, your profile gets updated, right? So, the algorithm catches it instantly. So, this will work in your favor. And there is one more thing that like one of my seniors told me this, that if you're applying to any organization via email, choose Tuesday and Wednesday to do it. So as it has been observed that this increases the chance of your application to be picked by the HR, because there are a lot of chances that on a Monday they have to reply back to a lot of emails and stuff. So Tuesday, Wednesday, they pick on the applications and everything. So if you send it on a Tuesday 10 a.m., there's a high chance that your application will be picked first. So that way. I mean, these are like my suggestions. Like if it works, right? So that way. And then the last point that I've covered here is that try to leverage your LinkedIn community to get referrals in companies. Like this way, you will be prioritized by the company for interviewing for that role. Like you will definitely get a this, what do you say, call back from them. At least you will get an examination perspective. Like there is a, what is that, aptitude test, right? So you will have the aptitude test definitely if you apply through referrals. So that works in your favor again. And just give me 1 second. Yeah. So moving on. Yes. So I would like to also talk to you guys about what are my responsibilities, what is the kind of work that I do here at Amazon, and how a day-to-day life of a DevOps engineer at Amazon looks like. So my key job responsibilities include continuously collaborating with various software teams to automate, build, test and deploy pipelines. And there is also like building software solutions to manage infrastructure needed to operate our system. And there are sometimes like there are backfilling scripts which are required, like if a new feature is launched, right? And that has made some new changes, like it has updated something, but the users that we had previously have they don't have the updated information in their database. So in order to do these things, we have to write lambdas. Lambda is a AWS service again. So all these things, backfilling. There are also SQL queries that sometimes you have to run if you are working with Redshift or RDS. So you have to do that as well. And yeah, there are a lot of quality good meetings with various stakeholders. Like there are dev teams, QA teams, and leadership, and they have certain requirements and certain suggestions on how we can improvise the infrastructure, how we can make it more stable, so and how we can have better scalability for the product. So yeah, these discussions are very enriching, like for the growth as well. So this is really cool, I think. And other than that, you have the opportunity like to communicate your ideas effectively, to achieve the right outcome for your team and customer. And we have reviews where we seek diverse perspectives and we incorporate their feedback. And after that, we have a final review. Like that is when we start working on the project once the review is accepted and stuff. So that happens, and carrying out all the planned as well as ad hoc deployments. So sometimes we have emergency deployments because the what do you say, like some feature has been released, but a bug has been caught in the production. So for that, we have to carry out ad hoc deployments, which are not planned, basically, in order to resolve that bug. So yeah, we have to carry that out. All this is in the scope of a DevOps engineer, like carrying out deployments, like making sure that the code reaches the production. That is our responsibility. And yeah, we like taking high ownership of production environment and ensuring the application runs smoothly. Um, so that is true. And monitoring the application post deployment to identify if any issues are arising and working on its fix. This also comes in uh, the scope of a DevOps engineer.